Let me show you all the vegetable varieties I'm growing here for the new garden season coming up for 2025. It's always one of my favorite videos to walk you through here. That is just stoking here my spring fever and just gets me ready into the mood for seed starting. As per usual, I have everything linked below in the description if you're looking for a variety as well, so feel free to check that out. And I might have a little surprise at the end for you. I'm Steffi, I'm a home gardener here in Attleboro, Massachusetts, Zone 6, and I love to take you along for the ride, so welcome to my channel. If you're curious to learn how to set up your garden space for garden planning, check out my video from just a couple of weeks ago where I walk you through the process of determining how many plants you can plant in your garden space. So before we get started here, let me quickly give you just a little bit of context, what informed or what was driving my decisions on what varieties I picked. My garden goals for this year is simplicity, growing only what we eat, and disease resistance. And those three items have really driven the decisions of which variety I picked. Simplicity is just because I travel a lot for work, so I really want to make sure that I have easy varieties and easy vegetable families in my garden, which I know don't need a lot of fuss from my side. The other thing, grow only what you eat, is just because it's sad if you grow things and nobody likes it else. And then the new one is focusing on disease resistance. Last year, again, I was business traveling a lot. So typically I'm really hovering over the garden, and wherever just some little disease picks up, I was usually very quick to eradicate it, pull the plant, or address the problem in one-way fashion. But with me gone for so many weeks in the growing season, that just didn't happen. And I was more driven by the simplicity portion of it, so a lot of things I just let go. But that had the unfortunate side effect that my tomatoes, for example, were taken down by an early blight very fast last year. They still produced quite well for a lot longer than I expected them to do so in the end, but this year I swapped out a few varieties in favor of hopefully more disease-resistant varieties. So knock on wood, we'll see if that works out, but that is something what has driven a lot of my choices this year. Let's talk a little bit about what are typically my seed sources here. So I'm in New England, and for that reason I prefer to stick with companies which are seed providers from our area. So one of my favorite providers, not only for the vegetable seeds but also for the flower seeds, is Johnny Seeds. They're sitting up in Maine, really great company. One favorite of mine, always great quality with the seeds. The other one is High Mowing Seeds. They're sitting in Vermont, also equally great seed company. And what I even love more with them is that all of the seeds are organic seeds, so you don't have to browse and find the organic varieties in the seed catalog. It's just all organic, which I love about that. One of my favorite seed companies I buy from is Row 7, small little boutique variety for seeds which grow them only for the taste. And yes, the taste is amazing from every variety I've tried so far, so go check them out. And then last but not least, Pine Tree Garden Seeds, also a local seed company from Maine. What I love about them is they have smaller seed packages which come with a little bit more affordable price tag. Johnny sometimes has such large seed package. As a home gardener, it's just a waste of seeds because you'll never use them up before they get old, for example. So that is just something what is really great with Pine Tree Garden Seeds. The number of seeds in the package works just sometimes better in my favor. And then just one little surprise for you. If you're interested to see what my seed starting schedule is, go check the description. I have a link there for 2 pages where you can download my seed starting plan. You're welcome. Keep in mind, it just is on 6 though. So let's start with the seeds here. They're in no particular order except that they're like bunched by plant family. But yeah, let me start here with the onions. So onions are typically the first vegetable seeds I start in late February, beginning of March. And last year I did an experiment with onion seeds, because when you look a little bit into onion seeds, they always say never grow seedlings with old seeds. I tested that last year and threw some of my old seeds into a couple of my seed starting sales as well, and they performed just fine. So, and I always have onion seeds left over. So this year I didn't buy any new seeds because I still have plenty, more than enough seeds to grow the amount of onions I need. And I have here 4 varieties. So the first one is the Cortland onion. That is a yellow onion, really great storage onion. I love them. They don't grow too big for me. And that's actually what I prefer. And yes, I know onions are kind of an unsexy vegetable, but it's a practical vegetable. I almost use at least 1 onion a day, depending on what I'm cooking. So for that reason, always grow onions. Then I have here the next yellow onion, which is a favorite of mine as well. Super great for storage. And this is the Isla Craig Exhibition. And one variety, which is like an heirloom variety and very thought after for their storage capabilities. I love that one. I always say that it's a forever grow. And then the other one, which I really like as well, is the New York Early. They have also, they're on the smaller size for me. From all the 3 yellow onions, they're on the smallest side, I would say, at least based on my experience. But they store really well and are just a great onion all around. And then I always have 1 red onion as well. I gotta say, we don't eat as many red onions as we do yellow onions, so that's why it's a 3-to-1 measurement here of varieties. And this is the only red onion which I do, is the red carpet, which was a really nice compact red onion for me as well, which stored quite well. That was the onions. Moving on, so what I typically do in the bed where there's just the allium, so the garlic is already growing, the onions will come very soon in spring, and both of them, the garlic and the onions, are typically done around mid-July or August. So within 4 weeks, that bed gets usually empty by the time of beginning of August. So that is a bed which I'll flip then to carrots. And this has worked last year so well. Again, in terms of simplicity, I really grow only carrots in there with a little bit of daikon. I'm not sure if I will do the daikon this year again because we didn't eat so much of that. So at the moment, I only have the carrot crops, and this is I got them all from Johnny's because they have always the pelleted carrot seeds, which I personally love because then you can seed them decently well spread and make sure that you don't have to crawl over the bed later and thin them out. That's just too much work. I rarely do that, and that then only ends up in teeny tiny carrots. So with the pelleted options, it is always great so that you're just seeding them well for what you need them or where you need them to be. So the candy carrot is just a classic orange onion, which I really enjoy. Then the Napoli, same thing, like the candy is a little bit more like the spear pointy carrot. The Napoli has like a more like round bottom, but they're both just classic orange carrots, which I really like. And then we have a couple of purple ones because we love them this year too. The deep purple and the purple haze. Those are like purple carrot options, which I will grow in succession after the onions and the garlic are done in this bag. Moving on to eggplants. These are 2 varieties. And the one is a really cute one, which is called Black Egg. They create, like, as they say, like black eggplants in, I would say they're a little bit bigger than a regular egg, but really cute egg-shaped varieties, which are great on the grill. I don't use those ones like to do hummus or something, but they're really great like for an eggplant to grill and make some antipasti from it. And then the other one, which I love not only for the taste but only for the looks, is the Anina, which is the beautiful ones with the stripes. It's a gorgeous eggplant itself. And I only grow literally 2 plants, like one of each variety, which is plenty enough because I think I'm the only one who eats eggplants, but I really, really like them in the summer from the grill. Moving on to the cucumbers, and they are still, let's just say, the cucumbers and I are still not friends, although last year was by far my most successful year with cucumbers. But I feel like sometimes it's a hit or miss with me, depending on the year and the weather we have, if they grow well or not. I have them often getting taken down by a disease or the dang cucumber beetles super fast. So yeah, or I'm still not picking the right varieties, but for that reason I have two new ones in the setup. One which I grew last year, which went very well, is the Manny, really nice slicer cucumber over there. I really enjoyed this one. And then we have another slicer, the Cortino, which I hope will serve me well, and the Quick Snack. Both of those varieties have been picked with disease resistance in mind, so we'll see if that works out. But those are the three cucumber varieties. I dropped any type of pickling cucumbers because we just didn't use them. And I gotta say, for pickling, I used the squash more than the cucumbers because they produced a lot better pickles than the cucumbers, in my opinion. And speaking of squash, this is the only squash variety I grow. This is the center cut squash from row 7. If you just followed me for a little while on my Instagram or over here, you've heard me talking about this monster of a plant. If you're looking for a squash plant to produce copious amounts of fruits, this is the one for you. It had so many fruits. I put like massive amounts to the food bank because we just couldn't deal with it. But yeah, you get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of plants and fruits from this variety. And it is squash vine borer resistant. If you have been struggling to grow zucchini because the squash vine borer takes them down so they rot on the stem because they like eating the plants from the inside out, I'll challenge you, this variety tastes better and produces just such better fruit than any zucchini I've ever tried. So I'll step off from my soapbox now. All right, peas are the next. So for the peas, they come as a little spring planting in the bed where I plant later the cucumbers and the watermelons. But I reduced the setup a little bit down from last year just for ease of use of the flip, for the simplicity purpose. But my two favorite varieties are the Sugar Snap peas. They are just such a perfect snap pea by itself. No fuss, green, crunchy, easy to grow, disease resistant. Love it. Super, super forever grow pea variety for me. And then from row 7 again, they're purple Beauregard snow pea. Still don't know how to pronounce that, but they are a really, really great purple pea. And what is the cool thing with them is they keep the color even when you cook them. Really lovely, makes for a great showcase for a stir fry to have them in there in purple, and they taste really delicious. So can highly recommend those ones. One big change we did from last year's garden to this year's garden is I dropped all the winter squashes this year. So I had a lot of the row 7 varieties from the winter squash, like the Lodi squash, the Kogi squash, and I'm forgetting one more, the honey nut or honey patch. So they have some really, really great, amazing winter squash varieties. If you and your family love winter squash varieties, go check them out. Delicious. Unfortunately, I'm here in this household the only one who enjoys them and who likes them. And for that, they just took up too much garden real estate for the outcome. If I had more space, I would still grow them. But again, garden real estate is of the essence here. And if I'm the only one who eats them and I just cook for everybody, it just doesn't make any sense. So I dropped them in favor of watermelons this year. This is an experiment to see how those behave in a 4x8 bed. I will grow them vertically up the trellis. But I grew last year watermelon in our like overflow lot They weren't very happy because I didn't get much attention, but I grew like 3 personal-sized watermelons, and everybody loved them from the moment I cut them open. So if we grow this year some more watermelons, I think they will be eaten very fast in the summer. So I picked 4 varieties. So the first one here is actually a cantaloupe variety in the melon department. This is the Minnesota Midget. So I'm curious to see how this one goes. The next one is the Juice Box. This is a classic looking watermelon variety. Really curious to see this one. And the next one then is the Mini Love. Those are those personal sized watermelons which we enjoyed last year. And then one more yellow watermelon variety. It's the Yellow Petit. So we'll give those ones a try. I will report back, and of course you can follow me here with regular updates in my garden tours, etc. So I'll keep you appraised on how it's going. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how that shift in plants will go. The next category has underwent some cuts as well in terms of simplicity. That is my beans. I only grow 1 bean variety these days because I love it so much. It's so prolific and it grows all season long. Even in the highest temperatures, it was still decently producing, in contrast to any other variety I've tried so far. And this is the Seychelles pole bean from High Mowing Seed, a rockstar pole bean, which produces the most beautiful stringless pole beans all season long. So go get those ones. One of the herb varieties, because basil, I always count basil here in my vegetable setup as well, is, if you know me just a little bit, you know I'm a huge lover of all things basil, not only for culinary purposes, but also ornamental purposes. It's one of my favorite fillers in the flower beds or in the arrangements. But last year I've struggled so much with my culinary basil varieties. We had a very, very wet summer and they got all like diseased and all nasty very, very quick, except for this variety, which is the only variety I grow for my culinary basil this year because it performed so well all season long. And this is the Everleaf Emerald Towers from Pine Tree Garden Seeds. Really, really great, strong variety. Didn't bloom out so fast like other ones when they were stressed. I really enjoyed this one. So this gets a repeat and a lot more plants in my garden this year. All right, let's do the peppers. So I have a few varieties which are sweet peppers and just a couple, no, 3 varieties which are hot peppers because we're not a super hot pepper household. But let's start here with the sweet peppers. One of my favorites is again a row 7 variety, and this is the patchwork pepper. Really beautiful pepper, which grows with a color change to indicate the ripeness, which is really nice. I always love something which you can tell, like the family when I'm traveling, to tell them, oh, when this color changed to that, that's the moment you can pick them, right? So that's always helpful. And this is why I love this variety very much, but it's also really, really tasty. This year I'm trying out a new to me shishito variety. Again, swapped out, my old seed package was empty, so I swapped it out for hopefully more disease-resistant variety. And this is the Katana F1 shishito pepper. I always love shishito peppers to grill them in summer on the grill. One of my favorite peppers. And if you have too many of them, they also pickle pretty well. And then the other sweet pepper is a candy cane, which looks so pretty in the picture. I'm really excited to try this one. And last but not least, on the sweet pepper, I wanted to try an Italian fried pepper again. And this is the Corno di Toro. I've done those ones, or like Italian peppers, like 2 years ago, and they didn't do well for me. Although that year in general, peppers didn't do well for me. So I didn't want to judge them by this poor performance in that year. So I'll give them another try this year and see how it looks. And then on to the hot peppers. So again, like we're not a super hot household, so don't judge me that I put poblanos into the hot pepper buckets, but we love those ones to fill them and bake them in the oven. So it's a really great pepper. The one thing which I love is cowboy candy. So pickled, sweet jalapenos. They make a great condiment for anything, for like charcuterie boards, on sandwiches, whatever. I put them on anything, in a salad if you want to have a little spicy kick in it. And that's the only purpose I grow jalapenos for. The variety I grew last year was called Early something, I forgot. Didn't do super well for me. So I went back to the variety I grew before, and that produced always a tons for me, and that's the Black Magic. So I'm looking forward to that. And now last but not least, the tomatoes. So in the tomato department, I grow the typical 3 types, like cherry, some paste tomatoes, and some like heirloom slicer tomatoes. So let's start with the cherry tomatoes. So if you know me, you know my forever favorite and forever grow cherry tomato is the Sun Gold. Come fight me on it. It's the perfect bite of a tomato. I just love them. I dream all winter of the first bite of a Sun Gold again. So yeah, that is a forever grow. But the other 2 cherry varieties are new ones because I swapped them out. Last year I had the Super Sweet 100 and the Sunrise Bumblebee as additional cherry tomato varieties. And the Sweet 100 was the one which started the blight disease in my garden. So that one got kicked out, and this one died. Actually, it didn't die. It held on to its life until the end, but the disease just spread everywhere from it. So that one got kicked out. And the Sunrise Bumblebee, I really loved the color. Wasn't so super crazy about the taste, I gotta say, but the color and the feel was gorgeous. But also they came in late and didn't produce much. So those were all arguments why that one got dropped. So for the replacements for this year, I have now a variety which I meant to grow from row 7, but they didn't have them in stock for a while, or I missed it. And that is the Sweet Prince tomato. I'm not sure if they're actually classifying that as a cherry tomato, but it's definitely a smaller one. It's like on the cusp to be a grape tomato, but I'll put them in the cherry tomato department for me here. And I'm really excited to try them again. Like anything I've tried from row 7 has just like blown my mind in terms of taste. And then the last cherry variety I picked again was one with the disease resistance in mind. And this is a new one from Johnny's called Honeybee, which nicely also looks almost like the Sunrise Bumblebee from a color perspective. It's a really, really pretty one, so, and supposed to be very disease resistant. So we'll see how those ones will do, but I'm super excited for them. Then moving on to the heirloom and the slicer, like the slicer department. My forever grow is a Cherokee Purple. I always love to grow just one classic heirloom variety, and this one is just the perfect tomato sandwich. So come fight me on that too. But that is one which I just love very dearly, and I dropped the Black Crim this year in favor of the Cherokee Purple because they were just so similar. And then one of my other beautiful forever grows is the Pink Berkeley Tie-Dye. I just love the color. Again, taste fabulous. So that is one as well. And one which I loved last year so much, it didn't produce so well, but I love the taste and the color enough to give it another try this year. And this is the Harvest Moon. This one had such a different taste from the slicer. It was almost on the very low acidity and almost on the creamy side of things when it comes to the taste. I loved it. And like this yellow color with the red veins when you cut it open, spectacular. I really loved it. And then one new variety which I picked, again, one of the most disease resistant varieties I could find, hopefully, is the Mountain Merit from High Mowing Seeds. So I'm really curious, just a classic red tomato. We'll see how that one does. And then my other large department of paste tomatoes is because that is what I truly grow tomatoes for, to make sauce, to make marinara sauce. and we enjoy them all winter long so far. I haven't bought any tomato sauce yet in the store, and we might actually make it this year until we'll have fresh ones new, which would be awesome. But my other two favorite varieties are the Midnight Roma from row 7. This is one of the few varieties where the looks and the taste are equally spectacular. It is gorgeous black, deep red tomato. When you put it open, when you cut it open, it is as gorgeous on the inside as it is on the outside, and the taste is spectacular. It is as rich, it is flavorful. You can eat it fresh for like a caprese on a salad, as well as putting it into any sauce. It works. It's like your all-star in the kitchen when it comes to a tomato, if you ask me. So that's an absolute forever grow for me. And then the other one in the paste department, which always produced so well and so massive for me, it's a Plum Perfect. Name is the game, the most perfectly plum-shaped tomatoes for paste. It's a determinate variety which is supposed to come all at once at the same time, which is true. You have there a peak when they come, typically like end of July, beginning of August, all in, so that you have enough to make actually tomato sauce. But they produce actually until the end of the season for me. So typically after the big swoop, I start like putting them in the freezer until I have enough to make sauce, and then I have like 1 or 2 canning weekends for me. That has worked well. And then the other one, which produced last year for me really well as well, is the San Marzano. So we'll grow all of those ones again. And yeah, I'm really excited to get going here with seed starting soon again. Let me know if you have any questions. This is again one of my favorite videos. Get me so excited for the new season. And I hope you enjoy it. And otherwise, subscribe and watch another video. Thank you.